Hello, and welcome back to World 5 of my Super Mario Galaxy 2 beginner run example with commentary. Um, last episode as if it was like a TV show. In the last video I did World 4, one of the harder worlds, and as a result the video was pretty long. World 5 hopefully won't take that long, but then again it might, because World 5 is actually long in and of itself. Just a lot to start, so we're moving on from World 4 into World 5, and the first thing we're going to do is move back to World 2, I want to say. I don't have the route memorized, by the way. You don't have to have the route memorized. So immediately I'm going to D-pad down to zoom out and move back to a previous world that I think is World 2. Yes. Uh, and here we go. Hightail Falls comment. I believe I made a mistake in this level, which is fine because I get to show you what that mistake looks like. Also, the game's probably pretty quiet. Should be louder now. My bad. So you may remember the flutter I did in Hightail Falls 1. If you don't like that flutter, good news, we don't do it here. We do a different trick. If you notice you're short on star bits, by the way, if you notice you're like you have like 1500, like you're not even close to 1800, because we need 1800 for Flash Black. If you notice you're short, you can grab star bits here, just like how you grab star bits in not Honey I've Won, Hightail Falls 1. So yeah, if you're short on star bits, feel free, but not a big deal. The movement here is pretty much the same as Hightail Falls 1, so if you watch World 2, you should be fine. And so right here is where I make the mistake. I'm running up here, but I'm not paying nearly enough attention, and I don't notice that this like Paragoomba and this meteor. Yeah, I hit the Paragoomba. So I didn't notice that was going to happen. So let this be a lesson to be careful not to hit the Paragoomba on your way up. If you choose to go this way. If you want to go the other way, it's faster but a bit more difficult. I don't want to sound like a broken record, because it's pretty much Hightail Falls 1. This time I'm careful here, and I choose to run around the Paragoomba. Smart. If you go the harder way, you'll have some dash pepper left to run, or you can do a flutter, because that's a little faster as well, but I'm just going to run because beginner strats. And I also mentioned this in World 2, you want to do a jump over this crack here, because if not, there's a chance that the platform starts to fall too early, and you bonk on like this platform. And if that happens, you're gonna die. And there's no checkpoints in this level, so you don't want that to happen. So I do a little jump. And here I do a pretty cool trick. That's totally optional, but it looks cool and it's a little easier. So what you do is pretty much right here, when you're changing from this sloped platform to this top platform, like right when you're between the two, you do a jump. And if you hold A during this jump, you get a ton of height, and you can just go like way far. This is mostly, I do this in this level, mostly because there's all these like cracks in the platforms, and jumping over them makes it a bit easier. And then this time, we actually entered the launch star. So here I do a trick that I kind of struggled with a little bit when I first learned it, but some practice and it shouldn't be a big deal. If you're not comfortable doing this trick, you can do the flutter that you do in Hightail Falls 1, and that only loses a few seconds. But yeah, this is the trick that you do in the Comet. The reason we do it in the Comet and not in Hightail Falls 1 is because in Hightail Falls 1 we need the Comet medal. And in the Comet obviously we don't, because we already got the Comet medal and we're in the Comet. Another thing about Comet medals, they only appear in the first mission of each galaxy. So if you're ever like wondering if you can get a Comet medal, if you like forgot one and you can get it later, like if you're in Starshine Beach and you're like, oh no, can I get it in Starshine Beach too? The answer is no. You can only get in the first mission. But yeah. So this strategy, Hightail Falls Comet only. If you're not comfortable with it, do the flutter that you do in Hightail Falls 1. So yeah, eat this pepper, and what you're gonna do is you're gonna jump pretty much right as Yoshi passes this platform, and you're gonna hold A and jump. Pretty much right. If you're too early, you're gonna jump like backwards towards the camera, and you can just try again. And if you're too late, well, I mean, we'll explore that option in a moment. But if you time it right, then you can jump, hold down right, and you'll just go right on top of this platform. If you're too late, then you're pretty much going to be stuck over here, and you're not going to have enough momentum to go backwards. What you do in that situation is shake and infinite flutter back, and then you'll be able to land up here. So if you're too far forward and you can't make it here by just holding down right, then you can spin and infinite flutter backwards onto this platform. And worst case scenario, if you still can't make it or you're not comfortable with the infinite flutters, you can jump off of Yoshi. And you'll lose Yoshi, but I'll explain what you do if that happens in a moment. But assuming you get up here with Yoshi just fine, you can just do a side flip and jump off to get the star. Similar to what you do in High Tip Falls 1, or at least what I did in this video. So the backup, if you have to jump off of Yoshi, if you're too far like forward and you can't infinite flutter back, and you jump off Yoshi, what you do is you want to stand on this railing here, and then you backflip, and then you can wall jump off this little piece here. And then you wall jump and then spin into the star, obviously. The only thing to remember is that this railing is actually a little further back than this. So if you try to backflip and aim yourself directly above this railing, you're actually going to hit the bottom of this with your head. So make sure that you're a little closer to the camera after your backflip before you spin. But yeah, if you have to jump off Yoshi, do a backflip, spin, and then you can wall jump off this little piece and grab the star. But yeah, so I'm going to show that again, try to explain it again, best I can. So yeah, just jump off as you switch from here to here. Pretty much as soon as you get to the end of this land, and then hold down right. And if you don't make it and you're up here, shake infinite flutter back. Or jump off Yoshi and you can side flip. Ooh, that was a good angle to show what I'm explaining. Oh. So yeah, you can see that this thing is like a little bit further this way than the railing. So keep that in mind because the depth perception here can be confusing. So yeah. But you can backflip off this rail and then wall jump to get to the star. And that's Hightail Falls Comet. If you're not comfortable doing that strategy, you can do the Infinite Flutter from Hightail Falls 1. Or if you're not comfortable with that either, then I guess you could go around normally, casually. But that jump there is not too bad. See, I have 1760-ish star bits, which is more than enough. Because you may have noticed throughout the run, you get like letters that give you 50 star bits per letter. From after this, we get one more. We get one more letter. I think it's after Boulder Bowl, and then I'm gonna have over 1800. If you don't have over 1800, fear not. There is one more level where you can get star bits, and you can get a lot of star bits. So if you're like 100 star bits short, then that's fine. Although I would recommend taking out 5,000 if you're 100 star bits short. Although I'm not entirely sure how you would even be short on star bits, unless you're shooting them all out at Lubba on the starship, which, by the way, I do all the time, and I usually pay the price. This level, there's really not a lot to say about it, other than it's probably one of the most RNG-heavy levels in the entire game, with the exception of maybe Dig-a-Leg and Bouldergeist and Boss Blitz. So, yeah, you pretty much just need to roll over all of these crabs. My biggest piece of advice is try to get the blue crabs as early as possible, because the blue crabs can like run out of the way and avoid you and be really, really annoying. So I recommend that when you're doing this, that you try to get the blue crabs as early as possible. Not much else to say. The rest of it is just try to control the rock well. At first, if you're getting if there's 10 seconds or so left on the clock, that's fine. But a good time is if there's 20 seconds left on the clock, and a really good time is if there's 30 or more seconds left on the clock. That's really hard. You need to be really good to get, or not really good, but I guess really lucky. So yeah, just watch how I do it, and you'll get the feel of how to do it faster as you go. But as long as you can actually do it, that's fine. And it's RNG because these guys move in different directions depending on how they feel, I guess. I don't know. So yeah. Not much to say about it. Like you see, I'm trying to take out the blue ones pretty quick. But they could dodge you, so if there's only blue ones left, it's gonna be a pain. You see that sometimes I'm canceling out of the rock, Dwayne The Rock Johnson. I'm doing that by pressing A and I'm basically mashing A and Z to do that. Because if you press Z in the air, then you cancel out of it. For some reason, it's pretty finicky on this circular planet, so I pretty much just mash A and Z, and that'll cancel you out. You want to try to do that as little as possible, but if you're on the complete opposite, if there's crabs back here, and you're rolling in this direction, then yeah, just cancel out of it to turn the other way. But if you get good RNG here, you won't have to really do that. And yeah, I have, as you see, about 14 seconds, which is not terrible. That's not that bad for this level. It's just a really silly level. And then the star is going to spawn over here. The one that's right next to the boulder power-up is where the star spawns. So just remember that. If you can get here, then that's where the star is going to spawn. Because this is the one next to the boulder power-up, the little circle on the ground. So this next level is Boulder Bowl Secret. A lot of people really despise this this level. It's not actually that bad. But there's kind of like a mini setup for it, I guess, which I'll explain when we get there. First and foremost, we're basically doing the same trick from Boulder Bowl 1, except we're not using the rock power-up, which makes it completely free, and I don't even need to explain it, really. So, you want to long jump across this gap here. For this spin, if you spin too early, you're going to grab this ledge, and you'll be in this weird state. Depending on how you grab the ledge, you'll be in a weird state where you can't climb up the ledge, and you're probably going to die if that happens. So you want to spin kind of late so you get a wall jump here, and then you can get on top. If you spin too early, like I said, you'll get a ledge grab, and it's possible you get this weird finicky ledge grab that messes you up and could potentially kill you. So yeah, try not to do that. And then what I do here for the camera is I D-pad right and then immediately D-pad left, and that fixes this camera from being kind of, awful. So yeah, this is the same trick from Boulder Bowl 1. You run off the edge here and then long jump and spin. Since you're not with the boulder costume, this is super lenient. You can spin whenever you want almost, and you want to be close to the edge of this platform, but it's not precise. Just doing this long jump here is much easier than doing it in Boulder Bowl 1 because no rock power up. And then so you immediately walk to this rock and break this stalagmite. I always forget. It's stalagmite, stalactite. This Octumba, it has hit me before, but it hasn't happened in a very, very long time. So I wouldn't worry about it, but if he hits you, then you could just grab another rock power up and do it again. If you're scared he's going to hit you, then you could slow down or just move out of the way. But if you ground pound and immediately start walking up, I'm pretty sure he doesn't hit you ever. Or if he does, it's super rare. Because like I said, I haven't seen it in a very long time. And yeah. And then this Goomba, you pretty much just have him chase you over to this area right here. And then you make him hit you. And then you have him chase you across the goop. And if you do that right, he won't get smushed at all. There is one backup Goomba. I think... Oh, gee. He's in one of these stalagmites. There's another backup Goomba if you need him. But if you use that one, then your best option is to then just intentionally take a death and try again from the start. But yeah, if you make him hit you when you're right about here, it sets it up pretty well so that you can get across here. If the cycles are different for you, it means you probably did something different on the first planet. Use your best judgment here. If you think that him hitting you is going to delay it too much or not enough, use your best judgment and try to do the best you can. But getting hit here works, I want to say, like almost 100% of the time for me. Just take a hit. There's actually a soft lock that can occur in this star, and so in order to avoid it, you can do two things. You can, one, talk to the Gizmo when the Goomba is way far away, or talk to him when the Goomba is super close. Here I do it when he's super close. The reason this soft lock actually occurs is if the Goomba is standing right here when this red pole spawns, and it pushes the Goomba out of the box, then it's gonna start the cutscene, but it's never gonna finish the cutscene. It's gonna play like the happy jingle, like you did. Like you'll see, it'll play this jingle, but then it would just hang here forever. And I think it's because it starts the cutscene because it notices the Goomba is in the box, but since it was pushed out of the box, it never proceeds to this next cutscene. So either way, the way to avoid that is to make sure that the Goomba 100% of the time is not standing here when you talk to the Gizmo. So the best way to do that is to either talk to him when the Goomba's like out here or when the Goomba's like right next to him. I always wait till the Goomba comes really close, and I haven't gotten the soft lock in a very long time. It has happened before. Yes, this is a level that a lot of people have trouble with because having the Goomba chase you is pretty annoying. But yeah, if you take the hit there, like I say, it'll work like almost all the time. And now I believe we do Fiery Flotilla Comet, which I really screwed up in this run, and you'll see why. If you want to see an example of a good Gobblegut with casual strats, you can check out the World 1 video where I do it in Fiery Flotilla 1. But this is an example of how Gobblegut usually goes for me when I do the casual strats. If that happens, don't stress it too much. I lose about a minute to this over the fastest strats. So even with a garbage Fiery Flotilla Comet, I only lose about a minute over using the fastest strats. Which, if you're a beginner, a minute is not even a big deal. But yeah, not much to say. Same thing as the Fiery Flotilla one. Make sure he follows you pretty closely. Make sure you run around, don't get hit. And then when he digs in, hit the bulbs. So if you're doing the fastest strats, you can beat him when this timer is at 148. So I would be done with this fight right now if I was using the fastest strats. First phase goes well. First phase is easy. Second phase is hard. And you'll see me mess it up quite poorly. Once again, I mentioned this in Fire Fertilla 1. If you're running and you notice that one of these bulges is close enough to the ground that you could just jump and hit it, you can do that, and it'll make it a bit easier when he goes in the ground. So yeah, I get hit here twice, and then I have to grab a coin because I don't want to die. I really don't want to die. And I get hit again, and then I grab another coin. By the way, if he hits you, he kind of like restarts his like phase. So if you get hit by him, then you're gonna have to wait a longer time before he digs into the ground. So try not to get hit by him. Do your best not to. But if you do, that's fine. Just make sure you don't die. And finally, hopefully, I'm able to get the last bellyache bulge. And I end the timer. I end when the timer is on 56 seconds. And like I said, if you do the fastest strats, you can finish at 148. So I lose about 50 seconds on this star to a good one, to a good Gobblegut, and I made lots of mistakes. So don't worry too much about it if you can't get the fast strats. They only save like, for a beginner, they save like not enough time for it to be worth. Well, I would say practice it if you can and if you're willing to get that time save, but for a beginner, it's a pretty small time loss to do casual strats for him. Comparatively. You know, for a top level speedrun, 50 seconds is a lot. So don't worry about it too much though if you have like a 4-hour time. And now we finally actually get to start World 5, 20 minutes into this video. Let's go. Space Storm is kinda tough. First thing to note about pole stars, in Galaxy 2, you can actually grab them with B, and I recommend doing that for this first planet in this area. Because if you grab it with A, there's a chance that Mario does a jump here, which isn't super slow, but it kind of messes things up a little. It's not a big deal. It's a small thing, but I recommend using B to grab these pole stars. And you can see the hand doesn't close when you use B. So this next section, you pretty much stand on this platform and you just wait. I don't have a very good visual cue for you. You just want to wait until this electric guy is like at about your height. And then you long jump. And they can land on this moving platform. A few long jumps gets you across. I actually messes up here. What I should have done was jumped instead of just walked off. Luckily I got lucky. On these platforms, Mario can do like this weird half ledge grab. And if you can actually do a small jump out of that if you're like timing it correctly. But what I do is I get to like half ledge grab and then spin, and then I'm able to get on top of this platform. I should have just done a single jump onto this platform instead of walking off. But yeah, and then jump here, and then a long jump gets you the common medal. If you're fast, you can make this cycle. Like I said, Mario gets this weird ledge grab, and you can actually see I'm mashing A here because Mario can do a little jump out of this weird ledge grab. It's pretty precise, but if you notice that you're a little too low to get on top, but a little too high to wall jump, then know that you can get a normal jump. And of course, if you get a long jump, that's even better. But it's no big deal. Optimally, you want to land on top here, but if it doesn't happen, you can use the next platform cycle. You only need to wait like a second. So yeah, that cylinder planet is actually it's a pretty hard planet, I'll be honest. And if you fall, obviously, if you like fall here, since the planet's a cylinder, you can just fall all the way back around. You will get zapped though, which is slow but not a big deal. And then you just have this Bob-omb chase you. So what you want to do here is It's actually a little faster to do this, and it's a bit easier. You want to stand like on the upper half of this cage, and then go into first person and hold down. And by doing that, I think it saves a few frames from lag from this explosion, but it also lets you buffer the down input, so you can just start going down as quickly as possible, and you get as much distance as possible. Because as I mentioned last video, backwards momentum is the fastest way to, is faster than forwards momentum. So you get some backwards momentum towards the launch star. If you really want to play it safe, you can grab this life shroom. You don't have to though. I only grab that if I only have like 1 health or something. So this next section, I also recommend using B for the pull stars, solely because you're gonna collect some star bits on accident, and if you use B for the pull stars, you'll be able to throw them all out automatically. So I use B for this last section to get rid of any star bits I accidentally grab. If you do this right, you can get this star without taking damage. If you get zapped or something, it's not a big deal, but just know you can do it without taking damage. Space Storm 2, there's actually a pretty huge skip here that's actually an intended skip. And I say it's an intended skip because the skip is to run up this like little thing here. I only say it's intended because there's actually a green star right here. So they definitely intend for you to be able to walk on this. So once again, first planet, I'm going to use B for these pull stars. So what you want to start is go left, double jump, and then spin, and then you can get up here. And so what I do here is I do 7 long jumps. I think I actually messed up in this run. I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then I would just run, triple jump up to the thwomp. I actually missed my double jump, but I would do 7 long jumps and then triple jump, wall jump, get on top of the thwomp. If you need to do a backflip, then you can. I messed this up pretty badly, but that's fine. And then the slow strat is to hit this button, which slows everything down. If you're a beginner, you should do that. But you can get all the way throughout this level without hitting the button at all. Yeah, and then you can just make your way up. And so you can do a triple jump. You can actually do a triple jump off of this little thing, but it's easier to do it up here. You just triple jump and then you can get the star. The backup is stand on this little outer railing here, and then backflip. And if you hold A the whole time and you do a Wiimote spin, then you can just barely get the star with a backflip. But the triple jump is faster and not too bad. But that is the backup. And that's Space Storm 2. One of my favorite levels, personally. Next is Shiverburn Galaxy, and I think I mentioned this in the World 3 video. I actually failed the Secret Star. The reason we do the Secret Star first is because while it's technically slower in terms of selecting stars, because if we do the Secret Star first, when we re-enter this level, then it's going to... The first star is going to fly in, and then the Secret Star will fly in. So you'll have 2 stars flying in. So you would think it would be faster to do 1, because then you'd only have the 1 star flying. And that's true. But the reason we do the secret star first is because it makes cycles better. Because, like I said before, cycles during this cutscene are still moving. And cycles during this cutscene are still moving. This one right here. So the cycles on that planet there that we passed, they're much better if you skip the cutscenes. Which, by the way, kind of self-explanatory at this point, but if you enter a level that you've already entered, then you can just skip the cutscenes. But yeah. So what I do is, to long jump off of this, I actually delay my A button just a little bit, and that gives me a big boosted long jump. If you don't get that, don't worry about it, it's not a big deal. I went for it because of muscle memory, but if you miss it, then you could just walk onto the platform or do another long jump or something. And yeah, from here you pretty much just long jump straight to the pipe. You can get into the pipe without making another cloud here if you're like really good angle. I don't recommend that. Even for like top level runners, I recommend just making a cloud and making sure you get into that pipe, because if you hit the lava, getting into the pipe is very hard, and chances are you're gonna die. Sometimes I go for the strat where you don't make a third cloud, but I don't recommend it. Just go in the pipe normally. And yeah, this is another chimp minigame. I fail it the first time. Spoiler alert. Kind of funny that I do. Which just goes to show you, even like good runners can fail it. It's best not to fail it, obviously. But if you do, don't worry too much. It's like 40 seconds. We already actually saw this, so I'm just going to kind of skip through to the funny part, which is when I fail. Yeah, see, I only get 590, which is really unfortunate. Yeah, good stuff. And then the second time, I'm fine. Yeah, like I said, we already saw the chimp minigame. If you really want to see how I do this, you can check out the World 3 video and Freezy Flake Secret. Basically, I'm almost constantly shaking my Wiimote because it gives me more speed. And if you do that, 600 should be easy, unless you make a mistake, which I did. And here we go. No problem. It's literally the same minigame, by the way. It's not like different positions of the gummits, I think they're called. It's the same. It's the exact same, so I figure we might as well skip through it, save a little bit of time. So now we re-enter into Shiverburn 1. This is a really hard star. I do strats that I think will make it easier, that I think you could probably get consistently if you practice them a little bit. I recommend going for the strats I go for here. Also, you saw 2 stars flew in. That's technically slower, but it's faster because the cycles are better. So the casual way of doing this is to ride this platform all the way over to this button. It turns all of this to ice, and then you go through the launch star, and then you have to go through this whole planet. But we can actually skip that whole section and the entirety of the second planet. And here's how. So the first thing you want to do is don't step on this platform. You can. It's not a big deal. It's technically faster if you do step on the platform. But I think it's a little less safe. I like to just long jump right over it. If you land on it and then do another long jump, that's totally fine. Keep that in mind. But yeah, then you get over here. You take the damage. The only thing to remember is don't fall in this little crack here, or else you'll take more damage and potentially die. So try not to do that. And then the reason I left this platform is so I could just long jump back without having to make another cloud. If you use this platform to get to the green, like springy guys, then you would just make a cloud here on your way back, but they're less safe. And then you pretty much just run back. Try not to get hit by this Octumba. If you want to save star bits to shoot him, then you can. And then you literally just do a downright long jump and just go this way, you know? Pretty much just follow this blue light. Try to go that same direction, and then with 2 cloud long jumps, you'll make it. You'll make it into this gravity field. I see a lot of newer runners don't even go for this. They just go around and then take the launch star. I highly recommend you do this trick. It's not hard. The faster version of this trick is hard. It takes a lot of practice. This version of this trick, I guarantee if you booted up your Wii right now and tried it, you would get it first try, maybe second try if you make a silly mistake. But it's a very easy strat compared to some of the other strats that you can do. And actually, I think this is easier than taking this launch star, in my opinion. So yeah, just 2 long jumps, follow the blue light, and you'll go right onto here. And the one thing you need to remember is to grab the comet medal. You may think like you might just not be thinking and go right into the launch star. Don't do that. Grab the comet medal. It's right here. This is where I use my cloud, by the way. If you don't have a cloud, then that's fine. You wouldn't use the cloud. You would just shake and get back on this platform. Try not to take damage, although if you do, it's not a huge deal with these strats. Another thing I want to mention is also, shouts to that motorcycle or whatever. Okay, so there's some camera manipulation strategies here that lets you get across this whole thing without getting any coins or life shrooms. If you plan on going for that, you want to make sure you don't take any damage on the first planet. On the first planet, I said it's technically safer to take the damage boost. That is true. But if you're going for the camera manipulation strats, don't take the damage boost. I don't do the camera manipulation stats here because, beginner run. But if you plan on going for them, make sure you land here with 3 health. That's important. If you need to get a coin on the previous planet, you could always kill one of these Octumbas if you really had to get another coin. But the camera manipulation strats require all 3 health. Well, they don't require it, but much safer if you have 3 health. So yeah, if you're doing the camera manip strats, keep 3 health here. But the slow strat and the easy strat is to grab this life shroom in the crystal. I think I get hit here even. Yeah, that's fine. I think you can just allow a boost across here. No big deal. If you give life shroom, then you have more than enough health to do that. Okay, so here I show the easy and consistent strats for Prince Picante, but they can still be a little tricky, and there's a few things to keep in mind. So for this first hit he shoots, his first coconut, completely just ignore it. You don't even need it. You don't need that coconut. Let it go. And so then he's going to shoot one more fireball and then another coconut. This next coconut, you want to make sure you hit pretty much as far away from him as possible. So I make sure I run all the way over here before hitting this coconut. The whole point of the strats I'm doing is to avoid Prince Picante from doing the cycle he does where he stops and then he shoots coconuts in the air, and it's just really slow. So if you hit the coconut all the way over here, you'll cancel that phase of him. So for this second coconut, you ignore the first one, and then the second coconut you hit all the way over here, and he'll skip his he'll skip that. And for a similar reason, so he's gonna shoot 2 more fireballs, and then the third shot is going to be a coconut. This shot you want to hit as close to his face as possible. You want to get right up in his face when you hit this one. It's not super precise. You don't need to be right in his face, but you want to be in his face. You want to hit that coconut very close to him. And so once again, he's gonna shoot 2 more fireballs and then a coconut. And then you want to hit that. Obviously, the closer you hit it to him, the faster, because it'll hit him earlier. But for that one, you can hit it wherever you want, since it's the third hit. So I'll show that again. You just ignore the first coconut he shoots. Oh, I skipped the first. Yeah, ignore the first coconut he shoots. He's going to shoot one more fireball and then hit a coconut. And you want to be as far away as possible for this coconut hit. And then for this next coconut, he shoots two fireballs and then the coconut. You want to hit as close to his face as possible. And then he shoots two more fireballs and another coconut. And I almost miss it here. Luckily I hit the coconut. Try not to miss it. Yeah, those strats will probably require a little bit of practice, but they're not hard. The harder strats are much more difficult, and there's an element of randomness to it. So these strats are they're a good compromise between speed and easiness. And actually, Viper, second place on the leaderboards, 301. He does those strats. He does the strats I just showed. So even a top level runner of this game goes for those strategies. So I recommend, especially at a beginner level, that you just go for that. And like I said, the whole point of that those strats is to make sure that he doesn't do his like phase where he shoots a bunch of coconuts and fireballs into the air, because that's slow. If he does, use your best judgment. Try to get the 3 hits on him as quickly as possible. But yeah, might be a bit of practice, but you'll get it. I believe next is Boom Moon, if I'm correct. I don't know why I spun there. No, Upside Dizzy. Upside Dizzy is kind of tough. I might have like completely screwed it up in this run. I'll try my best to explain it. The first thing I do is I try to collect star bits for the first section, but not the second section. So I think the first time through I try the fast strats, but I miss them, and then the second time I do the slow strats. So probably better off that way, so I can show you the backup. So the fast strat is to long jump, land on this question block, and then immediately turn around and backflip. You see right here, I kind of like hit the edge of this platform, of this floor here, or ceiling, I guess. I don't know. I kind of hit the edge of this. Normally, you would want to go directly into here without like getting a wall jump or hitting anything. I messed that up, and then this is what ends up happening. If you do, however, do the backflip and go right through, you would want to fall right down, and then right about here you would spin, bounce off the Goomba's head, and then go into the gravity field. But the backup is to do this. Pretty slow, but it is what it is. Like I said, grab some star bits here. I actually got rid of way too many star bits. I don't know why I threw out all my star bits. The reason you keep them is because these little blue guys here, you want to kill them. And the more star bits you have, the better, because you can shoot them. Like, you can rapid fire shoot the blue guys. Because, you know, they suck. Make sure to get this one. This one can be really annoying. And you pretty much need to, you need to aim pretty well to hit this last one, but I definitely recommend you do. When the gravity switches back up, you hold right and start long jumping. Make sure that you control your long jump speed such that you fall here without bonking on any walls or accidentally sliding down any walls. You want to pretty much just fall right into here. If you're too fast, then when you fall, you'll end up ledge grabbing this or sliding down it, this brick. You don't want that to happen. If you're too slow, you'll land up here. try to control it so you fall right directly down, and then just continue doing long jumps. Long jump, spin, grab the combat medal. If you do this right, okay, so I spun a little late here. If you spin early enough, then when the gravity switches back, you'll end up on this platform. But what happened here is I spun too late, and I end up getting zapped. If you spin earlier, you'll end up on this platform, and then you could just do long jumps, and you won't get zapped, but it's not too important. But just know, if I had done this better, I would have landed here, and then just long jumped over a couple times. And yeah, pretty much, that was supposed to be a long jump, as you can see on my input display, but I messed it up. And so here I end up getting here where there's the up direction, and I just go into the star. If you get here and the gravity field is opposite, and you're running along this, then what you do is you run, and then you jump onto this question block, do a double jump, and then you'll flip gravity, and then when you land, do a triple jump. It looks kind of cool, and it's kind of sad I didn't get in this run, but pretty much it's not hard. You just do a single jump onto the block, do a double jump into the next gravity field, and then when you hit the ground, do a triple jump, and then you can just grab the star with the triple jump, and obviously spin. So yeah, kind of upset I didn't get that, but what are you gonna do? And yeah, Upside Dizzy 1 is actually a pretty tough star. I hope I was able to explain it good enough, and I recommend you do some practice on that star because it can be tough. All kinds of cycles and stuff. But yeah, nothing too ridiculous. World 5 can be kind of tough. Shiverburn 1 with the strats I showed isn't too bad. Upside Dizzy 1 is pretty much always going to be bad if you're doing it somewhat fast. Upside Dizzy Secret, this is another star where you need to make sure you're pointing at the screen. Because if you're pointing off screen, you're not going to... Like, there's no star to select, so you want to point at the star. So this time I do the slow strats that I recommend you do, which is this. If you want to do the fast strats, I don't know how, I don't want to go super in depth in them because it's a beginner tutorial, but you do the backflip, you fall right down this hole, you spin, bop, hit off the Goomba, spin again, and then you'll get a wall jump here, and then you spin a third time with nunchuck. If you want to see that in action, you can watch like Nemi or Viper or someone, but in this run I'm not going to go too in depth into it. And yeah, but that's the backup, is to pretty much go into this gravity field, walk out, and then spin on top of this platform, and then you can go through the pipe. Kind of self-explanatory here, just triple jump up and break these boxes to get through the pipe. And we have another box game. This one's harder, but I will try to explain my strategy as best as possible. So first thing I do is I move up until I hit like this little intersection point between these three lines, and then I shoot a fireball. I run over, do a fireball down diagonally, and then immediately down to break these four boxes. And then I shoot a fireball up. So right now I was too far to the right here. If you're kind of closer to the left, you can actually hit both of these sets of four and this row of two up here. And you'll see what I mean because I do get it on this one. But you need to be slightly further to the left than to the right. So you want to be left of center, just barely, and then you can get this whole section of boxes. If you mess it up, that's fine. And you see what I mean here. I did it here, and I get both of those sections of boxes plus those two up here. But since I missed these two, I just shoot another fireball up there. to get them, no problem. And then I long jump over, and this is pretty much the exact same as the other side. Fireball diagonally, fireball down, fireball up. This time I do get both sets of 4 plus these two. Then fireball to the side, and then fireball up again. 9 seconds, I think, is the best you can get. Maybe it's possible to get 10 with these strats, but I usually get 9. If you get lower than that, that's fine. It can be kind of tough. That's the strategy that I do anyway. So let's watch it again. So yeah, that's what you'd want to do. If you really can't do those strats, I guess you could do. I guess what I would consider to be the easier way is pretty much long jump down here and just shoot fireballs up from the bottom of this platform. It's much tighter because you don't have as much time to do that, but if you really can't get the strats that I showed in this round, then you can do that. But yeah, once again, it requires a couple of run-throughs to kind of get the muscle memory down and get in your head, but once you do, you'll be good. In retrospect, I probably could have gone for easier strats on that box star, but I think that a beginner is more than capable of getting it with a bit of practice. So next we have Boo Moon. There's a huge skip in Boo Moon 1 that I am not going for in this run. Because it is kind of hard. If you want to see what I'm talking about, you can check out Nemi's PB. But yeah, I'm not going to go for it in this run. I'm just going to do the strats, do the casual strats. So this planet is kind of interesting. The only two parts you want to long jump on is the very beginning and the very end. So you see I'm going to land here, and I'm going to long jump kind of to the right, but also kind of diagonally, so that I land right in front of this door here to open it as soon as possible. And for the rest of this planet, you just want to run. You just want to walk. Don't do any long jumps. Because this planet is actually slightly curved, and if you long jump on a curved planet, I mean, let's just take this input display. Let's assume this is the planet. If Mario's standing here and you do a long jump, he's going to kind of go this way and then land, whereas if you just run, he'll just kind of run. On a curved planet like this, it's faster to run than to long jump. And then once you get to the launch star, you can do another long jump into it. Right here, you can do a frame perfect camera cancel. If you're mashing D up, and then when you land, you could go into first person for a split second, if you want. I usually go for it. I didn't in this round to show you the cycles. And yeah, pretty much just long jump here onto these purple snake blocks. And if you spin on the edge, you can grab this checkpoint. So I recommend doing that for safety, since it doesn't actually use any time. And so yeah, to make this long jump without a spin, you pretty much want to long jump at the very, very edge of these snake blocks. I recommend that you do a spin like here for safety to ensure that you get here, but I don't do that here. A spin there for safety is definitely smart. So yeah, pretty much just kind of run around here normally. So here you have the common medal, and instead of going in the launch star, just long jump to the left. So what you would do is pretty much go to the top of these like snake blocks, long jump left, and then position yourself so that you hit the star. Long jump left and pretty much just change your angle to be a little bit more up, obviously, to line yourself up better. And then you can grab that, no problem. If you really want to, if you really aren't safe or not comfortable going with that long jump, you can follow the snake blocks all the way around, but that long jump is super not hard, and you can just long jump straight to the star. That's no problem. So yeah, pretty easy not to miss, although I have missed it before. I'm sure plenty of really good runners have, but still, the long jump is advised. And now Blue Moon 1. Uh, Pretty much the exact same, if I'm being honest, up until the launch star. Same thing, run around, go into launch star, whatever. And these cycles are the exact same, so I am going to skip over them. But it's the same thing. Long jump onto the snake blocks, grab the checkpoint, long jump off the edge, or do a safety spin, follow these snake blocks, whatever. The difference comes here. Pretty much, you pretty much just long jump straight into this launch star. You don't need to wait for the snake blocks or anything. You don't need to grab the common medal since you already got it. Just long jump into the launch star. I kind of messed up my movement here by doing two long jumps. What I normally do is I do one long jump to the left and then two backflips, and then that gets me all 5-star chips. Other people, what they'll do is they'll do a backflip this way. Oh shoot, what do? They do a backflip this way, and then they triple jump off the edge of this moon, and that gets them all 5. If you want to see that, you can try a Viper, but a left long jump and then 2 backflips is what I like to do. Like that. Except without messing up the first time. And yeah, nothing to say too much about this. For this silver star, you actually need to walk for a little bit before starting another long jump. If you just do 2 long jumps right away, you're going to go underneath the star. So you see how after this first long jump, I just walk for like a couple steps. And then yeah, pretty self-explanatory here. Triple jump up here, a couple backflips, and there you go. The only thing to mention is that this first silver star and this second silver star aren't like in a line. So you'll notice after this first backflip, I'm starting to hold up left a little. That's because this silver star is a little further away from the camera than the first one. So yeah, I think I'll just jump down and grab the star. I believe next is Shiverburn Comet, because we do not do Blue Moon 2 in this category. Yes, Shiverburn Comet. I accidentally went over to here for a second on accident. Not a big deal. So Shiverburn Comet, there's only one thing to mention here, which is that ice skating is, while it's technically the same speed as running full speed with the Rainbow Star, it's much harder to control. So I'll show you how to get around that. So what you do is, once you land from this launch star, you hold forward, spin, and tap A. And by doing this, you do like a little jump into the Rainbow Star, and then when you land, you're going to be going full speed running instead of ice skating. If you mess this up, that's okay, because in order to go into running mode, as opposed to ice skating mode, you just shake the controller and tap A, and then when you land, you'll be running. Much easier to control, so definitely recommend you do that. Yeah, you just land, hold forward, shake tap A. And if you miss that, and you start ice skating, then just, again, shake tap A and you land and you'll be running full speed. And yeah, the star spawns like slightly to the right of like, I guess, this little dip in the top of the planet, and like in the center here. So I messed the positioning up, but it's kind of hard to get. So just so you know, that's where the star spawns. Next is Boom Bunker. I do go for hard-ish strats in Boom Bunker. I go for strats that I think a beginner can go for and consistently get. Although I will tell you about a backup strat, or strats in this case. So this first part is pretty much you just long jump here to get this bullet bill to chase you, and you just run him all the way to the cage. So it's fastest to actually backflip and then ground pound, so that you ground pound as the bullet bill breaks the cage, and then you go right into the cannon. But since he's a little close here, I just crouch, and if you crouch here, he's not going to hit you, he's going to go straight into the cage. This cannon shot, this is one of the strategies I said might be a little kind of tough for beginners, but I think beginners could do. Pretty much your aim here is to aim right for the center of this hammer bro's head. Right about there. If you're too low, you're gonna hit him and take damage and fall and die like 90% of the time. If you're too far to the left or the right or above, you're gonna hit him and you're gonna keep on going and flying and die. So pretty much aim for the center of his head and you'll get this cannon shot every time. It's pretty easy. You can take a few seconds to set it up and you're fine. No problem. If you want to aim for this target, because it's easier, you can do that, and then kill them normally. That's totally fine. But aiming for the center of this hammer bro's head, you'll smack right into him, and then you can ground pound and do a long jump directly upright, bounce off the boomerang and ground pound the other hammer or boomerang bro. Not hard. This cannon shot is also kind of hard. So what I do is I actually wait here to show you the exact setup. If you enter this cannon and then immediately shoot this cloud, you'll make it, and you'll be fine. But what you want to do is aim for this cloud and shoot it when this blue platform is underneath these two spikes. Basically, the part of the platform that's underneath the spikes is going to be the same part that you land on. So I'm going to shoot this right when this, like, the center of this blue platform is under the spike bombs, and, well, there's a bomb in the way now. Make sure there's not a bomb in the way when you do this. And boom. So you saw I shot as this blue platform is under these two spikes, so I'm gonna make it. And aim for the cloud. And you'll land here, no problem. If you don't want to do this, you can aim for the target and then just do long jumps up to the cloud, and then proceed from there. Probably should have done that in this run, looking back on it, but I think that this is something that a beginner should be able to do, because all you're doing is shooting at the... I know I'm saying like a broken record, but I do want to drive the point home. You're shooting when the blue platform is under the spikes. I'm sure a lot of these videos is just me sounding like a broken record. So then you just long jump straight right. You'll like orbit around the planet, and when you grab the common medal, make a cloud, and then obviously long jump up. If you space this correctly, you only need to create 2 clouds before you get to the top. but if you need to do a third, that's fine. So this fight's kind of hard, I guess, for a beginner. I am going to try to explain it as best as possible, though. So the first thing you need to do is you want to get up to the top here as quickly as possible. So what I like to do is grab the cloud, long jump, and then I do two backflips off of the cloud. And then you can just backflip up and ground pound this. This second phase, he actually goes into like this electric thing. So the only thing that matters is you get to the top before that runs out. So you can grab a cloud and do pretty much the same thing. Make sure that you do your backflips after the second bolt of lightning, or else you might get hit by it. So he shoots two bolts of lightning. Try not to get hit by them. And then you should get up here right as his electricity runs out, and you can ground pound. The third hit, you long jump onto this cloud flower, long jump into the air, and then you do two backflips. And the only important thing here to remember is that for the third backflip, you want to make sure you grab this cloud flower. So you want to space your backflip so that this next backflip gives you the cloud flower. And then obviously do more backflips, and you can just smack him in the head again. So I'll show that again without pausing. Backflip, backflip, backflip. And there you go. If you don't get the cloud flower, or you're not confident that you'll get the cloud flower, you can just land on that cloud and then do more and then start backflipping from there. But yeah, that's how you. That's the fast way of doing it. And there you go. That's World 5. World 5 in the books. Hopefully I was clear. I probably sounded like a bit of a broken record for most of this world. But it is kind of a tough world. There's a lot of stuff to get in your head. So, thought that repetition might help or something. I don't know. I hope I wasn't too annoying. And hopefully you learned something from this. Hopefully you are able to do some strats in this video that you didn't know about before, or you didn't know how to do before, or whatever. Yeah. Next world. That's the last one. We're going into World 6, the last world of the run. I am excited. I hope you are too. I will see you in the next one.